Good afternoon. I'm sitting on a bench. Thought you might like to come and join me. I've got a small person here. Hello, Merlin. Hello, gorgeous boy. I know, I'm rarely in the videos myself, but it's one of those days I've been sort of pondering and thinking. And I am sat in lovely surroundings. We've walked out here, it's dry, and this is perfect opportunity for the dogs just to have a mooch. So we've got to be out for a little while because someone's looking at my house. This buying and selling houses is very strange, isn't it? It feels really weird. I think when you live on your own, when you've got a family and there's people coming in and out anyway, and you might turn up home and there's people there, that's different. But when you live on your own and you're just handing your keys over to someone and saying, yeah, go look around my house, I think that's a bit bizarre. But there we go. But my problem is the bungalow I really wanted, the one with lovely space for these guys, only 3 miles from these woods and the other 5 woods in the area, with dog walking fields in the village, pubs for quizzes and things. That's been sold. That's sold subject to conditions. So I've lost the lovely bungalow that I put my house on the market for. And what I'm really struggling with is how properties are marketed. Why aren't people just more honest? Why waste everyone's time? As an estate agent, you're only being paid a set fee. So if you have to do 10 extra viewings because you didn't put the details together properly and you've effectively lied, that's your time you've wasted. I've just cancelled a viewing for Tuesday. Lovely little cottage. You could see it was surrounded by other properties and on sort of probably a farm. They clarified boundary lines. It did own not much of a garden, but it was right round the cottage. So I'd have been able to fence it off for the dogs and look at nice scenery, guarantee no further building, etc. And then I was sent the further details. These are the details that aren't on Rightmove. In 2023, the fees a year were 4,800. That means the fees now are going to be about 5,500, 6,000 at least. I don't want to be lumbered with that yearly, and that's just for outside and water. I don't pay anything like that for water. I'm pretty conservative, even with the aquarium and the axolotls, and when I use a pool. I'm not paying that sort of money. And the whole point of me wanting a cottage or a bungalow is I want to be able to do the outside maintenance myself. I've just had to finish painting my own house because the painter walked off the job. Yeah, that's another story. So at this stage in life, I don't need to pay for someone else to maintain the outside of my property. So why would I want to pay about 5,000 a year to do so? But what annoys me is that's not in the Rightmove details. Why waste my time? Why let me book a viewing and just, yeah, I don't get it. Hey guys, we just don't get it, do we? No. We just want somewhere to live that we can put out a few hoops, we can put out a few jumps, we could do some training. I absolutely love where I live now. For those of you who don't know me, I'm sort of assuming you do, but for those of you who don't, I'm Abby. The channel is all about these two hooligans. We've got Oti, who is a Nova Scotia Duck Solling Retriever, and Merlin. Merly come, good boy. And Merly is a Corgi Collie Cross. And my life is basically about those two. Those two and work. Hey, gorgeous gal. Hey, I know, darlings. So I work as a railway signaller, and the house I live in at the moment is only 5 miles from where I work, which is brilliant, but it is a long way from everywhere else. The swimming pool in the most local town is rarely open, and certainly not for lane swimming. So I'm driving out, it's a 32-mile round trip just to go swimming at the moment. I drive out to Common Moors. It's 8 miles for me to get here, where it used to be 4 from where I lived before. So again, that's a 16-mile round trip at least once a day. It's the same to go on the moors. It's a lot of driving, and I'm struggling to stay fit. I'm struggling to get myself. I was very, very fit. I rode out horses for a living, rode race horses. I was carriage driver, riding instructor. But years and years and years of jumping on and off horses on hard roads, jumping on and off carriages onto hard roads, riding with short stirrups, jumping, continual turning, moving, mucking out, has left me with osteoarthritis in my knee, mountain bike accident didn't help, and a few other problems. And I'm just trying to make life doable for the future. I'm trying to future-proof. So my idea is, if I can have access to a good swimming pool, I can keep my fitness up that way without too much stress on the joints. If I'm not too far from sort of decent walking, I can get out easily a couple of times a day. Nice for the dogs. But one thing I'm being lenient on is going further from work, because actually being a shift worker, you're not working as many days as the days you're off, because they're 12-hour shifts. And by the time you take holiday into account as well, that's a lot of time I'm not at work, and I'd rather have a nice simple journey to work. That's the other thing. Although I want to go further distance from work, I don't want to go to the other side of Exeter, the big city I live near. That would just be pointless because of the time involved. I want an easy, straightforward drive straight down a main road to where I live. Then I can do the wiggly routes to get to woods and things. But you'd have thought it would be simple. When I bought my house, I was living in rented. I thought I'd never, ever be able to own my own property. I worked as, like I said, groom, carriage driver, rider. You were in debt most of your life because you paid very little. You live in jobs. It was only in the last few years of my career that they brought in that the place you live can only account for £40 a week out of your wage. When I lived in Windsor, I was paid £1,000 a month. I had £650 a month taken out from my accommodation. That was about 15 years ago, so shows you just what conditions were. But you sort of get into that lifestyle and don't believe there's anything else you can do. And being a live-in job, it did at least give you accommodation, whether that was a mobile home or a cottage or bungalow, shared house, something along those lines. But I'd got to the point when I became a signaller. I worked as a crossing keeper first in Essex, well, in Dartford, but I lived in Essex in a lovely annex. It was perfect. It was set on 4 acres. The older lady needed to rent out the annex. It had been built for her son and daughter-in-law, but she didn't want just anyone there, and she was so happy. I actually advertised my collie at the time. She advertised looking for somewhere to live as a well-behaved dog with references, and this lady answered. We both had collies. It worked so well. We took care of each other's dogs when needed. So she could go out with her friends, I'd go and let her dog out, and on the shifts she'd let my dog out. So that worked really, really well. And then I rented a bungalow in West Sussex, sorry, not a bungalow, a flat in West Sussex when I lived there. That was all great. Rented a 3-bed house here in Devon when I moved up here. Lovely house, no real garden, bit of a yard, but at the time I had Tia Collie, who was 10, Lloyd Cat, who could come out walking across the fields, and that's what I really miss. There was walking from the door. I could walk for miles on public rights of way and across fields and loved it. I didn't have to drive everywhere, so I drove for work, but once I was home, there was a village hall, I went to parties and things, and that's what I'm trying to get back to. So I was very, very fortunate to be able to buy when I could, and if I hadn't, in all honesty, I don't think I'd have got on the property ladder. So I've got a lovely, lovely 2-bed house, really nice sized garden, but it is split level, which for trained dogs means I've lost a lot of ground. And Oti, madam, is fussy about training wedge toilets. Fair enough. Nice front garden. I've extended the drive, I've doubled it, it's got a big double garage. There's so much love about the house, and particularly if you had a child at primary school, it would be just perfect. Right location to sort of walk to friends. That's just brilliant. But for me, it's not right. But as I say, I'm looking around, and some of the wide angle lenses used must be utterly amazing. Went to look at a barn conversion. It was the very, very outer reach of my limit driving wise. No dimensions. This is the trouble. They don't give dimensions for outside space. You've got measurements for the house, but not for the land. It looked like about 1/4 acre. My friend and I went through it in detail. She's looking at land at the moment. Arrived, it was garden. It was very overlooked. It's basically been built in the back of someone's garden, and their windows overlooked. Hey, gorgeous boy. Hello. Overlooked this barn conversion's windows. And it was right next to a main road. Very conveniently not shown. That's a waste of my time, waste of my friend's time. We made a day out of it and we went for a lovely walk with the dogs and saw another property at the same time. But I'm just fed up with this time wasting. Advertise what you've got, advertise how it is, and don't lie. Don't try and make things look bigger than they are. Because what do you think is going to happen when someone turns up to go and view? Don't tell me it's in brilliant condition when it's not. I can research the area, I can see if it's where I want to be, but I'm relying on the estate agents to put details in. There's one I want to view next week. I phoned up to book a viewing. The viewing's being done by the owner and she only wants to do Saturdays. So can't view it. So I'm going to wait and see, let her do her first weekend, and after that, if it hasn't sold, I'll contact them and try and push. Let's go and get viewing. But there you go, that's where I'm at, peoples. Any advice is very, very welcome. How do we get estate agents to be honest? The ones I'm using, I must say, seem to be very, very good. Their photos don't look the best out of what you see, but that's because they're real. They're not edited to the point you'll get there, and it doesn't resemble at all what you've gone to see. Well, I'm going to start walking down because I can feel the rain coming in. Hey guys! So, I really want quite a simple life, you know. I've been looking at moving close to family. I've had these discussions in other videos time and time again. I can't afford what I want in West Sussex, and in all honesty, I don't know that I'd actually see much more of them, and I'd miss this. I can come out to the woods. This is half term. Good cow. You clever puppy. I can come out to the woods in half term, and we've got 5 Forestry England woods within about 4 or 5 miles. I can generally have one of the woodlands to myself and the dogs if I want to. But if I want to go and meet other people and let the dogs interact, then we've got parks and places to do that. Haven't we, gorgeous boy? And so this is a big reason I don't want to leave the area. I love where I live. It's just this whole trying to find somewhere to live. We'll get there. So there you go. That is my wandering and pondering on house buying and house selling. I wish it were all a lot simpler. And I really wish I'd got the bungalow. That was the whole reason I put my house on the market. There's definitely a bit of me going, do I want to move? Do I want the hassle if I can't get what I really want? And the answer is no. If I can't get really what I want, I will take mine off the market. Right, before I say goodbye, let's turn around and let you see this lovely view. So this is what I love. This is why I'm here. I've lived near beaches. I've lived near mountains, moorland, forests, and it's the forests that get me. Hey guys, good boy. This way out. Good girl. For me, it is these forests that make life, that keep me happy, healthy. My dog's happy and healthy. And after all, life is all about them, or so they say. Good girl. Is it all about you? Yeah. So have a great day, everyone. I'm going to say goodbye now from Devon in England, in the UK, for those of you who don't know the area. We're just losing our autumn colours here, but it's still wonderful, always is. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you all soon.